everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about tips for a productive NaNoWriMo. Note I say productive and not successful, and you'll find out why at the end of that video. But today I would like to talk about how to be the most productive during the month of November when we will be doing NaNoWriMo, also known as National Novel Writing Month. So during the month of November, if you are a writer, you're probably no stranger to NaNoWriMo, where you try to write 50,000 words in the month of November, which is typically a first draft of a novel. 50,000 words, for the most part, isn't a full-length novel for most genres. Maybe if you're writing a middle grade or maybe a contemporary or a novella, 50,000 words would probably be pretty accurate. But for the most part, it's usually just a good chunk of a book, because a lot of times when you're writing contemporary, they're going to be a little bit over that, 60, 70,000 words. Fantasy novels and young adult might be about 90 compared to adult, which might be a little bit over 100. So you kind of get the gist that most of the time these novels aren't going to be complete, but the goal is to kind of try to write as much as you can in 1 month and really kickstart that novel journey. So I'm going to talk about what you can do to be the most productive in the month of November. This probably isn't an exhaustive list. This is just something that I think really helped me last year complete my first NaNoWriMo. And I say complete because I've done this 3 years, and the first 2 years I only did a few thousand words and pretty much petered out after the first couple of days of NaNoWriMo. Last year, I started on day 1, and by day 30, I had hit my 50,000 words, and by the end of everything, I had about 56,000 words written for my novel. First draft. So I think these are just some tips that I would share with you guys to try to be the most productive in the month as well. My first tip is going to be very simple, and it's just be confident. Be confident in yourself and your ability to get things done in your novel. As many people might be aware, a lot of times you'll hear people say, if you go in with bad intentions, you're not going to have a great outcome. Simply put, go in thinking that you're going to be successful, and you're more likely to be successful. Don't go in thinking, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, or maybe I'm not going to make that goal because I'm not good enough, or other people might be better than me. Scratch all of those, because it doesn't matter. Just be confident that you are the one that's going to be embarking on this journey, and you'll get there. It doesn't matter if so-and-so is doing better or so-and-so hit 10,000 words in day 1, because that's very likely to happen. There are some people who are beasts in the first couple days. There are some people who beast at the end of the month and come out of nowhere. But you just be confident in what you can do and your ability, and that's going to carry you on for the rest of the month. The second tip to be productive that I have is to join the NaNoWriMo website. So National Novel Writing Month has a website. I will link it down below in case you're unfamiliar with it, but it's nanowrimo.org. And essentially it's just a place where you can kind of put your stats of your project in and communicate with other writers and track your overall word count while you're writing during November. This isn't something that you absolutely have to do, but I find it very productive, and this is kind of how I ended up connecting with a larger community, was by joining the NaNoWriMo website and connecting with other local authors in my area. Also, they have a lot of cool features and tools that can really help you do well for your novel. For instance, you are able to declare that you are writing a novel and joining the group of people worldwide. You can join into sprints, whether you do your own writing sprints or you join community sprints. I know there's a ton of other things like on Twitter as well that they'll do either through NaNoWriMo's Twitter, or like just other individual authors will also do writing sprints through the NaNoWriMo website. You can track how many words you make every day. And generally, it's just kind of a nice way to kind of see your progress being live. And then any friends you have on that website will also see your progress. So it's kind of like a good motivation for them and for yourself to kind of see how everyone else is doing. Again, this isn't really a requirement. For me, it was a nice kind of kick in the pants every time I would see someone else doing so well. I'd be like, oh, okay, I got to catch up to them now too, because for me, I'm competitive. That's not the point of being NaNoWriMo, but I love that competition of saying, oh, if they could do it, I can do it as well. The only other perk to the website is that you can technically declare a win if you want to. That win doesn't necessarily go anywhere in the long run, but it could get you offers to discounted products such as Scrivener and other websites that may help you as an author overall. But you don't win anything other than the glory of saying, I wrote 50,000 words in 1 month. The next tip that I have for a productive NaNoWriMo is to schedule and set time aside to get your daily word counts in. So if you saw my Preptober video, you know that I already kind of planned out my calendar in order to give me the most amount of awareness of what's going on in my life when things are coming up and what barriers I have. To further this, I do recommend that you schedule the time in to write, because if not, you may run into unanticipated barriers that will end up setting you back. And if you really want to achieve the goal of 50,000 words, it's important that you try to stick to it as best as possible, because you don't want to get discouraged if you end up missing 2-3 days in a row and then feel like you can't catch up. I always do a daily planner that just kind of, I typically will put in, for instance, on Monday, I'll try to write out my day as best as possible. So it would be 6 a.m., wake up, 6:30, exercise, 7 o'clock, write for a half hour, and then my day as far as whatever's happening that week/day. Because my job, I travel for clients, and that sometimes either means I'm traveling for several hours during the day, or I'm also doing several therapy sessions during the day. I really like this method to kind of block out my calendar in order to better succeed at the tasks I do. And I can even show you a past one. For instance, now this isn't always filled out, but here you can see I have, with 6 a.m. all my checklists. Over here I have 6 a.m., 6:15, 8, 8:30, 10:30, and so on. That, like I said, that just usually keeps me in line. Whether or not it's something you want to do on paper, if you want to track a Google Calendar, if you want to use your phone, that's completely up to you. But like I said, I just think at the very least, blocking out a certain time to get your writing in is going to be beneficial and make you more productive. I said in my 6 a.m. writing sprint video that 6 a.m. is one of the best times for me to write, because I know it's right before my day, and worst case scenario, even if I don't hit my 1667 words to hit the 50,000 a day, at the very least, I get some words in the morning, and then in case my day goes completely haywire, maybe we have a family emergency, maybe one of my clients has an emergency, maybe I have to cover someone who went out for work, or, my dog gets sick and I have to make sure she's okay, maybe I get sick, it is going to be flu season soon. Any of those little things that are going to disrupt my day, at the very least, I know at 6 a.m. I can get some words in. And, 200 words is going to be better than nothing at all, if that's all I could do during the day. So I don't think I have to keep going on and rattling about this, but you kind of get the point. The more that you're able to plan the times that you can write in, the better off you're going to be. My fourth tip for being productive during NaNoWriMo is to do not edit while you are writing. Because this is such a fast-paced month, you only have 30 days of November. If you take up your time editing as you go, it's likely going to set you back farther than you anticipated. This kind of goes along with scheduling your writing times, because if you're scheduling your writing times, it doesn't leave you a lot of room to edit. Because like I said, if you're editing, it's going to slow your process down. Maybe you are a superhuman and you write a lot of words fast, and that's how you process things, is by writing a lot of words fast and then going back and editing it. But just keep in mind that this is going to be a first draft no matter who you are. Maybe if you're Stephen King, this would be your first draft and done. But for the most part, we're only humans and we're going to make mistakes. So editing while you go is just going to end up slowing you down if your goal is to hit that 50,000 word mark. Coming from experience, I did edit a little bit last year. And even though I made my word count, my editing did take some time away from me, and I ended up forgetting stuff to put in my novel at the end. So all that editing didn't make really any sense, because I still have to go back and add a ton of stuff in there. And I'm sure there's some grammar mistakes that I missed as well. Again, I'm human. If you're not writing in 1 month, that might be an okay way to go about it. You write a chapter, you go back and edit it. But I just think too, for me, the free-flowing thoughts, just to keep going and going and going to get the first draft down on paper, it's best if you don't stop and take a break to edit and you just keep going. because you might be surprised at what you have at the end of the month. Bottom line is, keep writing, don't look back until you are done and you hit the end on your novel. And then take 2 months and then go back and edit. Tip number 5 is to look to your writing community for inspiration. I think we all kind of get bogged down sometimes, and the world in general has an environment for competition. I know that this is completely true for me because I am so competitive. You give me any task, and there's a good chance that I'm going to try to make it competitive because competition works for me. But on the flip side, it also stresses me out. And sometimes I reverse that where I think competition is going to be beneficial for me. And then I end up looking like a failure or feeling like a failure because I'm striving to be competitive and perfect and successful. So instead of looking at everything as a competition, use your resources in the writing community. There's Twitter, there's Bookstagram, there's YouTube, there's Reddit. And there are tons of Discord channels, NaNoWriMo groups, and other communities for writers on Facebook and the NaNoWriMo website. This, I think, is something that really helped me last year, and it wasn't something I ever really looked into prior to last year. But I found so many fellow writers in my region, all around the world, through Reddit and NaNoWriMo. And kind of seeing their progress and their support throughout the whole process has been incredible for me because I don't think without that, I would have been as successful. Like I said, I did 2 years before last year in 2018 that I completely failed, and I just skimmed the water of NaNoWriMo. I didn't know that there were group meetups and Discord channels and Facebook groups where I can actually talk to other people who are going through the same process as me. And like I said, overall, it was so inspirational to see them doing well that I wanted to do well in the end. Additionally, it works vice versa. I think I helped other people write because I was doing so well, so they saw me and was like, yes, we're all in this together. We're going to win. Maybe I'm wrong, but I do think that's kind of how it was at the end of the day. You are more than welcome to message me directly on Twitter or my Instagram channel if you want specific groups that I found that were very helpful. I know one in particular, the subreddits for writing, particularly publishing tips and young adult writers, was very helpful just overall in my journey, either connecting to other people who were in similar boats to me, whether I was querying or editing, looking for beta readers, etc. And through that, I ended up joining a young adult writing Discord channel who were absolutely wonderful people, and I'm sure that's going to be start being active again when we get into NaNoWriMo this coming month. I've also joined, like I said, my regional NaNoWriMo group has been awesome. That region is super supportive, and I'm sure that everyone else in the world, I mean, for the most part, yes, there's some kind of cattiness sometimes, and there's some drama here and there, but the writing community as a whole, from published authors and indie authors and just people who like to write for fun, all seem pretty supportive. So at the worst case, check it out. And if you're not into meeting people in real life, see if they have an online component, because sometimes, like I said, you can be a lurker in those groups, but still get motivated by watching everyone else talk about what they're doing. So my 6th tip for productivity kind of goes along with the community inspiration, but that is doing writing sprints. So writing sprints have been a godsend for me, especially for last year, because again, competition a little bit, but also inspiration. I was able to join other people who were doing writing sprints at the same time. And it's kind of that, that rush of, ooh, I'm going to see how many words I can get in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And then you kind of compare at the end with all the other people. And, sometimes, trust me, I'm not the fastest writer. So like I would get maybe 600 words in 20 minutes sometimes. But then I'd have someone who had 900 words and I'd be like, dang girl, or dang dude, you guys are incredible. But those writing sprints really helped me out. And like I said, goes hand in hand with your community. The more people you can do writing sprints with, the funner they are. And you guys can all talk about, how many words you got, or maybe you had a breakthrough in your novel during that writing sprint and you get to share that enthusiasm with other people. And even if you don't have other people to do writing sprints with, doing them by yourself can be so productive. Like I said, you just say you have an incredibly busy day where you only have 30 minutes to yourself. So you take 15 minutes and you decide to do a word sprint that one day, you might be surprised with how much you can actually write. And you might be surprised too that after that word sprint's done, you're in the writing flow now and you want to continue. Time given, you know, that happened to me a couple times last year where I really wasn't in the mood to write, but I sat down at like 9 o'clock at night, and at 11:30 I was like, whew, I've been writing for a very long time. I should go to bed now. You never know what's going to happen when you do those word sprints, and you might end up, like I said, being more productive than you intended to be. So I have 3 more tips for you guys today, and I personally think that these are some of the most important things to consider when you want to be productive for NaNoWriMo. My 7th tip is going to be to reward yourself. No matter what you do in life, everyone likes to be rewarded for making goals and accomplishments. NaNoWriMo is no exception. And if you watched my Preptober video, you know that I bought myself some good snacks and wine and coffees to kind of keep myself motivated while I'm writing. But I also think it's important to consider that, you know, if we make our goals, if you go by official NaNoWriMo goals, 1,667 words per day is what you should be making to get 50,000 words in a month, 30 days of November. And if you're trying to get that goal, that's a big feat if you can do that every day. If you do more than that every day, that's awesome. And even if you don't get that much for one day and you make it up the next day, you're still writing every single day. And for some people, this might be completely new to them. I know last year, going into the month of November in 2018, I really never had a consistent writing schedule. So trying to write something every day was completely new to me. And rewarding myself for making those goals were life-changing. It could be as simple as just saying, all right, I'm not going to watch my TV show until I finish my word goal for the day. Simple as that. So last year I did that, where I would tell my husband, hey, I'm going to go write for a little bit, and you know, maybe you go play video games or watch something on your own. When I'm done, we'll come back up and we'll watch the show together. We're really big into the superhero shows. We also love Jeopardy, and we kind of pick and choose other shows as things come out or things get on Netflix to decide what to watch. But we're always watching something, so kind of having that, I know this is my goal. If I meet all my words, I know this is happening later, and I get to enjoy that moment. Instead of trying to watch a TV show with my husband and saying, but I didn't really meet my word goal, and now that's stressing me out. Don't do that to yourself. Just know that, like, have these little set rewards for yourself that you will actually be able to enjoy because you're meeting the goals that you want. For myself, pretty much anything I do on the regular is now going to be a reward for me. TV, as I mentioned, is one of them. I also know that I have a ton of packages coming in the month of November, between subscription boxes, books that are being released because I pre-ordered like 600 of them, and things I'm looking forward to getting in the mail. I can save those till I hit my word count goal. Or, I mean, even if you don't hit a goal, okay, I wrote at 6 a.m. in the morning for a half hour today, and I got 500 words added to my thing. Oh, the mail's coming? I'm going to treat myself to opening this package. On the other side, maybe I didn't wake up at 6 a.m. I made myself late and I didn't get my word sprints in. So when that package comes at noon and I'm home on my lunch break, I'm not opening it till I get my word count in. That's a reward, right? And it's more exciting when you can enjoy the moment. You can also consider certain foods, or, you know, ordering takeout on a weekend when you get your word count in. Maybe treating yourself to a coffee outside. Pretty much anything you could do to keep that motivation up and feel like you're doing what you need to do best can be helpful. And like I said, everyone is motivated by rewards. Whether they're intrinsic rewards or external rewards, whatever it's going to do to make yourself feel better at the end of the day for making your most effort is going to be worthwhile. My 8th tip for productivity, and like I said, one of the most important tips that I would have, is to remember to take care of yourself. As I kind of already mentioned, sometimes with the competition in the writing world, with the pressures of what happens after you write a novel, with, you know, seeing people be successful and you feel like you're not successful, it's very easy to fall into patterns of negative self-health. That could be mental health, it could be physical health, it could be emotional health. Whenever you put yourself out there and you're trying to do something in a manner of pushing yourself harder, it could still take a toll on you. So this is just a reminder that if you want to be productive, make sure you're taking care of every aspect of your life. So remember to exercise. Maybe you're not a big exerciser, and that's okay. I personally am, and that's one of the things that I am going to be planning for in my daily routine, is to remember to take a couple laps around the block, run on the treadmill, lift some weights, whatever that is. I still want to keep doing that during the month of November because I know I'm going to be sitting a lot more than I normally would in a regular month because I'm going to be at the computer every single day. I also work on the computer for work, so a lot of computer time is going to be happening. Even if it's just you have a pet, instead of taking them in the backyard, maybe walk around the block. Or, if you already walk in the morning, maybe make your walk a little bit longer. Just do something to make sure that you're keeping your body active while your mind is also being active. Make sure you're drinking water. I think it's so easy to fall into the pattern of chugging caffeine after caffeine, whether it's energy drinks or coffee or those 5-hour energy shots, which are disgusting in my opinion. But it's really easy to forget that water is still vital to you. But your body is going to need it, especially to keep using that brain of yours. You're going to want to feed that brain, and water is a key to doing so. Make sure that you're also doing things in the name of self-care for your mental health. Whether that's, you need to take a break every so often and call someone on the phone. Go spend time with your loved one. Go cuddle your pet. Call your mom or your dad or any other family member that is important to you. Do something that is going to be just for yourself to make sure that you're not falling down into this cave of despair when your word count isn't hitting 1667 every day. It's nothing to get upset about. And as someone who has anxiety, it's super easy to be so frustrated and overwhelmed by this project that you either give up or you sink into some kind of despair. So don't do that. I know it's easier said than done sometimes, but just remember to take care of yourself during this month. And even at the end of the day, if you don't hit 50,000 words, if you're taking care of yourself, that's going to be better than nothing. And the last tip that I have for a productive NaNoWriMo is to measure your own success on your terms. So 50,000 words is the NaNoWriMo goal for everyone who might participate on the NaNoWriMo website. But that doesn't have to be your means of success. Everyone works at their own pace, and everyone's going to accomplish different things. I know last year there was a girl in our NaNoWriMo regional group who had over 100,000 words at the end of NaNoWriMo. She was writing 15,000 words in one day at some time, and I was just like, whew. But that was her success. She did awesome and she rocked it. And that was what she wanted to do. For me, I think by day 30, I'm pretty sure I had 52,000 words. I was a little bit over, but I still had to continue. And I think I wrote 3 more weeks after the month of November to get a finished product on my NaNoWriMo. But I was still successful because I did something that I had never done before. I wrote every day for 30 days in a row, with maybe the exception of 1 or 2 days. I met 50,000 words of a novel that I wanted to write for 10 years. And I reached out and started using resources in the writing community, which was something I'd never done before. And all of that was so successful to me that even if I didn't write my 50,000 words, I still would have been a better writer at the end of that experience just because of everything else that came out of it. So remember that your goal doesn't have to be 50,000 to be successful. You can write 5,000 words, and that's still 5,000 more words than you had yesterday. You could write 100,000 words, and that's more words than you had yesterday. Maybe your goal is just to write half a book, that 50,000 words, and you know that the rest of it's going to have to come after the month of November. But just because you know that that's going to be half a book, that's still awesome and that's still progress. So maybe you don't write the end at the end of November, but you have 50,000 words that you didn't have before. Again, this is just the reminder that just because other people might be meeting different goals, it doesn't mean that you're less successful to them. And that's the most important thing coming out of NaNoWriMo, is that this is an experience for everyone and everyone's going to be treating it differently. So whatever you do in the month of November, just know that you're killing it. So there you have it, guys. Those are my tips to be the most productive in the month of November while you're doing NaNoWriMo. Keep an eye out for my upcoming vlogs. I will be doing one a week for the entire month. I'm not exactly sure what days are going to be, but I think they're going to be posted on Tuesdays, and they're going to cover from Monday through Sunday. That's my goal for now, but keep an eye out for them, and hopefully you'll be sticking around and seeing how my own journey goes this month. If you have any other tips that make you the most productive during the month of NaNoWriMo, please leave them down below. I would love to know your take on things. Or if something really resonated with you, I would love to also know that. And until next time, I hope you guys have a great jump start on NaNoWriMo coming up this week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.